Picture this. You've been dating someone for 3 months. Things have been going really well. You're laughing together, sharing deeper conversations. Maybe you just had an amazing weekend together. And then Monday comes around and suddenly they're distant. Short texts, too busy to make plans. It's like a switch flipped overnight.
And your mind starts racing. What did I do wrong? Did I say too much? Want too much? Am I too needy?
But here's what you need to understand. When someone starts pulling away right when things are going well, this reaction usually isn't about you at all.
And as therapists, we see this dynamic constantly, especially between anxious and avoidant partners. And today, we're breaking down why avoidant partners pull away when closeness increases, and more importantly, what you can actually do to stop the painful push-pull cycle, because the answer isn't what most people think.
This is episode 1 of our 4-episode series on healing the anxious-avoidant dance. Today is why they pull away. Still to come, we'll show you when space is healthy versus hurtful, how to repair without losing yourself, and finally, the inner work to stay whole. So let's talk about Sarah. She's been seeing Michael for 4 months now, and she's confused because this pattern keeps repeating. They get close, things feel amazing, and then he creates distance. Not by breaking up, just by becoming less available, less responsive, less emotionally present.
And here's what's happening beneath the surface that Sarah can't see. Michael has what we call an avoidant attachment style. Now, attachment styles are the templates we develop in childhood about how safe it is to be close to others. And for someone with avoidant attachment, closeness, even good closeness, triggers their nervous system into a state of threat.
Let me explain what we mean by that. In internal family systems therapy, which is one of the main approaches we use, we understand that we all have different parts inside of us. Think of them as an internal team. Michael has what we call manager parts. These are protective parts whose job it is to keep him safe by maintaining emotional distance and control.
These manager parts developed when Michael was young, likely because closeness came with some kind of pain. Maybe a parent was intrusive or emotionally unpredictable, or he learned that depending on others led to disappointment. So these protective manager parts created a strategy. Stay independent. Don't need anyone too much. Keep your guard up.
And that strategy probably worked really well for Michael growing up. It protected him. But now as an adult in a relationship with Sarah, these same manager parts are still running the show. When things get too close, too comfortable, too vulnerable, these parts panic and say, danger. We need space. Pull back.
So Michael withdraws, not because he doesn't care about Sarah, but because his nervous system is literally interpreting intimacy as a threat to his autonomy and safety.
Meanwhile, Sarah has an anxious attachment style. And when Michael pulls away, her manager parts activate too. But hers work differently. Her protector parts say, danger, we're losing him, we need to reconnect. So she pursues. She texts more, she tries to make plans, and she asks, what's wrong?
And here's the painful irony. Sarah's pursuit, which is her nervous system's attempt to restore safety, actually confirms Michael's manager part's worst fear. See? Too much closeness means someone will want too much from us. We need more distance. So Michael withdraws more, which makes Sarah more anxious, which makes her pursue more. And we get stuck in what John Gottman calls the pursue-withdrawal pattern, one of the most damaging cycles in relationships.
Now, before we get into what Sarah and you can actually do about this, and we promise there are things you can do, let's take a moment for those of you who are new here. I'm Tehrina Terry, and this is my partner, Joel Terry. We're both licensed therapists. Joel brings the science, and I bring the heart. If you're finding these videos helpful, please subscribe for more videos on how to build healthy, secure relationships, and leave a comment or a question below. I love spending time in the comments section connecting with you all.
And if you're wondering what your own attachment style is, we have a free quiz that will help you understand your patterns in relationships. We'll link that below. Okay, back to Sarah and Michael.
So we need to go a little deeper into what's actually happening for both Sarah and Michael, because understanding this will completely change how you respond when you find yourself in this situation.
Let's start with Michael's internal world. Underneath those manager parts that are creating distance, there are what we call exile parts. These are the younger, wounded parts of him that carry the pain from his early attachment experiences. Maybe he has a part that's a 5-year-old who learned that mom got overwhelmed when he had big needs, or an 8-year-old who learned that dad withdrew affection when he got too clingy.
These exile parts carry feelings like I'm too much, or my needs burden people, or if I let someone all the way in, they'll suffocate me or leave me. And Michael's manager parts are actually trying to protect these young, vulnerable exiles from ever feeling that pain again.
So when Sarah texts, "Hey, I miss you. When can I see you again?" which is a completely reasonable thing to say to someone you're dating, Michael's manager parts interpret this as, "She wants too much. This is exactly what we are afraid of." And they slam the door shut to protect those exiles.
Now let's look at Sarah's internal system. She also has exile parts. Maybe a 7-year-old who's learned that love is conditional and that you have to work hard to keep it. Or a part that experienced a parent being emotionally unavailable and learned if I'm not constantly reaching out, I'll be forgotten. And if you're recognizing yourself in this scenario, I want you to pause and notice your body right now. That flutter in your chest or that tightness in your stomach, that's your attachment system lighting up. Your nervous system is recognizing this pattern in real time. So I want you to just pause for a moment. We'll wait. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And now exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's continue.
So when Michael creates distance, these exile parts get activated and Sarah feels that old familiar panic. I'm losing him. I'm not enough. I need to fix this now. And that's when her firefighter parts jump in.
Firefighter parts are the emergency responders of our internal system. Their job is to immediately extinguish emotional pain by any means necessary. For Sarah, her firefighters use pursuit behaviors, such as texting repeatedly, trying to force connection, analyzing every interaction, anything to douse that fire of panic and abandonment fear.
But here's the crucial thing to understand. Both Sarah's firefighters and Michael's managers are just trying to protect wounded parts. Neither person is the villain here. They're both in pain, and their protective parts are doing what they think is best. But these strategies are actually creating the exact outcomes they fear most.
Sarah's pursuit confirms Michael's fear that closeness means losing himself. And Michael's withdrawal confirms Sarah's fear that she's not worthy of consistent love. It's a painful cycle that emotionally focused therapy calls a negative cycle or demon dialogue.
And the key to breaking this cycle isn't about fixing the avoidant partner or suppressing your own needs.
It's about learning to recognize when your protective parts are activated and choosing to respond from a different place.
If you're hearing this and thinking, okay, but what do I do when they ask for space? That's exactly what we cover in the next episode coming up. For now, here's how to stop the immediate chase and withdrawal reflex.
So let's talk about what Sarah or anyone in her position can actually do when they notice this happening. Because here's the reframe we want you to hold on to. You cannot control whether your partner's manager parts activate. You cannot force them to feel safe with closeness. But you can change how you respond when their protective parts create distance.
And that's actually where your power lives. So here are 3 therapist-tested steps to respond differently the next time closeness leads to distance.
Step 1, recognize the pattern and pause. When you notice yourself starting to feel the familiar panic of, oh no, they're pulling away, that's your signal that your firefighter parts are getting activated. Instead of immediately acting on the urgency to pursue, just notice it. Say to yourself, okay, my protective parts are scared right now, and that makes sense, but I don't have to let them take over.
And this is what we call self-energy in IFS, the calm, compassionate, curious part of you that can observe what's happening without being hijacked by it. And this pause is crucial because it creates space between your fear and your action. Research shows that when we can create even a 10-second gap between emotional activation and response, we make significantly better relationship decisions.
Step 2, self-regulate before you respond. This is where boundaries with yourself come in. Your firefighters want you to text right now, call right now, demand reassurance right now. But instead, you're going to regulate your own nervous system first. And you can do this by taking some deep breaths, going for a walk, calling a friend, or you might journal about what your younger parts are afraid of.
And what you're doing here is meeting your own needs for safety instead of outsourcing that job to your partner. Because here's the truth: even if Michael immediately responded with perfect reassurance, it would only temporarily soothe your firefighters. The real healing comes from learning that you can survive the discomfort of distance without losing yourself to panic.
And this is also where you might need to get curious with your exile parts. Ask them, what are you afraid will happen if I don't pursue right now? What do you need from me? Often these younger parts just need us, our adult self, to acknowledge their fear and remind them that we're not actually in the same danger we were as children.
Step 3, communicate your needs without pursuing. Once you've regulated your nervous system and connected with your self energy, then you can reach out, but from a very different place. Instead of, why haven't you texted me back? Are you mad? Did I do something wrong? Which is your firefighters talking. You might say something like,
Hey, I noticed we've been less connected this week. I'm someone who needs regular communication to feel secure in a relationship. Can we talk about what works for both of us?
notice the difference? You're stating a need and inviting dialogue rather than pursuing from panic. This is what Sue Johnson calls reaching in a new way. You're being vulnerable about your needs without making the other person responsible for managing your anxiety. And you're also opening the door for them to share what's been happening for them.
Now, here is the hard part. Sometimes when you do this, the avoidant partner still can't meet you there. Their protective parts might still need to maintain distance. And that's important information. A healthy relationship requires both people to be willing to work on their attachment patterns and meet somewhere in the middle.
If you consistently practice these 3 steps and your partner never moves toward you, never becomes more emotionally available, never does their own work on their avoidant patterns, then you might be facing a situation where this person simply can't give you what you need for a secure relationship. And that's a boundary conversation.
But if both people are willing to recognize their protective parts and slowly learn new ways of connecting, the pursuit withdrawal pattern can absolutely change. We've seen it happen countless times in our practice.
Okay, so let's talk about the science behind why this pursue withdrawal pattern is so powerful and so hard to break. Dr. Sue Johnson, the founder of emotionally focused therapy, describes this dynamic as a protest polka, and it's rooted in our mammalian attachment wiring. When we perceive that our attachment figure is unavailable, our nervous system quite literally interprets this as a survival threat. For our ancestors, separation from the tribe meant death, so we're hardwired to panic when connection feels threatened. Research from the field of interpersonal neurobiology shows that when the anxious partner's attachment system is activated, their amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, lights up as if they're facing physical danger. Meanwhile, the avoidant partner's nervous system is responding to intimacy as if it's an invasion, activating their dorsal vagal system, which creates shutdown and withdrawal. So, both nervous systems are in threat mode, just responding in opposite ways. And here's what's fascinating. Dr. John Gottman's research found that the pursue withdrawal pattern is one of the strongest predictors of relationship dissatisfaction and eventual dissolution. In his studies, couples stuck in this pattern had significantly higher cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone, during conflicts than couples with other communication patterns. But, and this is the hopeful part, Gottman also found that this pattern can be interrupted when both partners learn to recognize it and slow down their automatic responses. Couples who successfully break this cycle show increased relationship satisfaction and decreased physiological stress responses within just a few months of practicing new patterns. So your nervous system can literally learn safety with a partner over time. The brain is neuroplastic. It can rewire, but it requires both awareness and consistent practice of new responses, which is exactly what we're talking about today.
So let's get to the heart of it, because I know if you're watching this video, You're probably in pain right now. Maybe you're that person who keeps reaching out to someone, who keeps pulling away. Maybe you've sent the text and you're watching your phone, waiting, feeling that familiar ache in your chest. I want you to know your need for connection is not wrong. Your desire for consistent, reliable love is not too much. You're not broken for wanting closeness. But here's what I also need you to hear: the person you're pursuing cannot heal the wound that's driving your pursuit. That healing has to come from you, from the inside out. Those younger parts of you that are panicking right now, they need you to be their secure attachment figure first. And that's not about becoming emotionally self sufficient to the point where you don't need anyone. Humans are wired for connection. We're supposed to need each other. It's about developing enough internal security that you can stay grounded in who you are and in what you need, even when someone else is creating distance. It's about being able to say, I see that you're pulling away and that hurts, and I'm going to take care of myself while I wait to see if you can move toward me. Because here's the truth: a partner who's genuinely capable of a secure relationship will respond to that kind of grounded, boundaried communication. They might need some time to work through their own protective parts, but they'll eventually be able to hear you and move toward you. And if they can't, if every time you express a need, they create more distance, then your protective parts are actually giving you really important information. This person may not be able to give you what you need for a healthy, secure relationship. And you deserve someone who can meet you in the middle. You deserve someone who's doing their own work, just like you're doing yours. So tonight, instead of checking your phone one more time or crafting that perfect text to get their attention, I want you to check in with yourself. Ask your younger parts, what do you need from me right now? And then give yourself that thing, whether it's reassurance, comfort, or just acknowledgement that this is hard. Share in the comments what you learn. It may help someone else, and I love connecting with you when you share. You're not alone in this. We see you, and we're here with you.
Up next is episode 2 in this series, Space That Heals versus Distance That Hurts, in which we do a deep dive into how to tell the difference in real life so you don't mistake avoidance for needing space, because not all distance is the same. And it's important to know when pulling back is a protective pattern versus when it's actually a relationship ending behavior.
If you're not getting our Wednesday relationship emails yet, subscribe below for your weekly midweek boost of practical relationship insights. We share tips that help you keep growing between videos. And don't forget to take our free quiz below. It's helped hundreds of people understand exactly why they react the way they do.
We're also going to link a video right here about anxious attachment and how to heal these protest behaviors we talked about today. That one goes deeper into the nervous system work that can help you feel more secure.
Subscribe and take care of your heart.
And remember, you're not alone. We're all in this
Together.